And there we are. It's so weird how this does this every time. It's like I guess you guys can see me before I realize that it's live because it doesn't come up on here that it's like live right away. I just got my notification that I'm live. Look at that. How about that? That's too funny. All right. So, good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you guys have had an amazing week and we're heading into another weekend. So, I hope you guys are doing great. See who we got in here. Nostradamus is in here. We got Delbert Jones. Janet's in the house. We got JJ's here, of course. Carol Prince. Ken Zoe. Annie. We got Kathy. Mary Taylor's in the house. Bobby Farron. Spilled Beans. I like that. That's funny. The Garden Life. So, welcome everybody. I hope you all are doing well. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right. So, before we jump into anything, I just want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. Uh, keep it family friendly. If you cannot abide by those very simple, easy rules, those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches will boot you out of here because we are not going to tolerate it. All right. Just putting it out there ahead of time. So let's just all have a nice chat. And like I said, if morons come in, which they most likely will, let my moderators deal with that. Please do not engage with them because that's what they want. They're looking for attention. All right. So we'll just let the moderators take care of that and we will go from there. All right. Man, there's actually a lot to talk about, a lot of stuff going on. Uh, so one of the first things I was going to, well, there's like a bunch, and obviously we're going to get into the whole thing with we are setting an aircraft carrier down into the Caribbean, which that's interesting in itself. We've been blowing alleged drug boats out of the water. Now, would they be using drug boats? I'm sure. That's not the only way they're getting drugs into this country, but that is one way. So, and if the intel is correct, and they're banging on these boats, then great. I hope that I hope the information is right. So that will remain to be seen. But yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk about in this live stream, I don't know if you guys saw in the news, there is a tropical storm right now, Melissa, um, down in the Caribbean, and it's been kind of stagnated because of the winds, but the winds are about to shift, and they're saying it could turn into a Category 5 hurricane that, with the potential of turning into another Sandy, uh, like Hurricane Sandy that hit the East Coast, up through New York, Maine, and all those areas. So, uh, hopefully you guys see. My thing is with this, knowing that the possibility is there. If you live on the East Coast, if you live in the Gulf, Texas, Louisiana, all those areas, Florida, and all that area, you should be prepared just in case. Anyway, it shouldn't be a matter of, oh, a storm's coming, now we need to do something. You should already be ready. I will never forget, never in a million years forget. And it was like one of my favorite things, honestly, of Hurricane Sandy. Okay, hit New York, a lot of flooding, a lot of issues, a lot of problems, and you had Chucky Schumer, right? Go down there and he's glad handing, and here we're the government and we're going to be here to help you and blah 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 and whatever it was. And while they're interviewing Chuck Schumer, some lady in the background, you hear her go, uh, and I would have supplies of plywood and other preps ready. Oh, absolutely in place. They should. And I'll tell you what they do, Delbert, and they do it every freaking time. But we'll talk about that in a second. But this lady's in the background and she's going, "Why aren't you helping us?" And I always thought it was so ironic, okay, for two reasons. Number one, why are you waiting for the government to help you? Number one, right? Why are you not helping yourself? That to me, that's a no-brainer. You know, you don't rely on the government. They have proven over and over and over and over again that they are not reliable. So why would you sit around waiting for them to be the ones to do something? You have to be proactive. You have to be engaged. It's not always about, I mean, people get this misconception with preparedness. They get this misconception that, oh, you're a prepper. Oh, you're one of those crazy people. You think the end of the world is coming. And do a lot of us think that there's a end of the world event coming? Of course we do. But that's not the only reason that we prepare. We prepare for the inevitable event that is going to happen in this country that happens every freaking year. It's not like, oh my God, a hurricane. I've never heard of one of those before. Where do you think it's going to hit? It happens every year. Now, the chances are that it's going to hit your area in any given year. You never know. And it's because the majority of people living in Florida aren't actually Floridians. No, I get that. I get that, and I understand what you're saying. But if you are moving to a region of the country, wherever you're moving to from somewhere else, you better know what you should be facing. If you're going to move to Tornado Alley and then a tornado comes and destroys all your crap and you're surprised, that's your own stupidity. I'm sorry. That's something that you need to plan for, think about ahead of time. When you move from one area to another area, know the area you're moving to, know what dangers you faced, and all those type of things. I mean, you really got to pay attention to those things. You really do. But so talking about having plywood and stuff like that. Every time hurricane happens in Florida, what do? They go out there, buy generators. They go out and they get this, they get that, they get the plywood, they get the other stuff. And then as soon as the storm is over, they take it all back to the store. I don't want this anymore. I don't want this generator anymore. Why would you not keep it just in case? That always blew me away until the next storm comes, and we'll go out and we'll buy all kinds of other stuff again. Insanity. That's just, to me, is insanity. But anyway, anybody on the East Coast, know that there's a possibility, that within a week, actually, I think they said by the 30th, there's a possibility this could be hitting the East Coast, New York, Maine, Connecticut, up in that area up there. So pay attention. Hopefully you guys are ready. And I'm on the North Carolina coast and always ready. And that's how you should be, period. If it's a Cat 4 or Cat 5, plywood won't help squat. Well, yeah, if it's coming in that hard, there's really, I mean, it's better than nothing. You know what I mean? Hopefully you don't lose your windows. But, it's just, a couple of things I got to address. Because I see these comments, guys, and I get a lot of amusement out of them, just so you know, a lot of these comments, because people just, so I put the tarp on top, put the tarp on the back. And of course, somebody's got to make the comment of, oh, first strong wind that comes along, those are going to be blown right off. Well, they're zip tied on, number one. So they're, they shouldn't go anywhere, right? And we had the last couple of days, we've had some seriously strong winds the last several days. And lo and behold, the tarps are still on there. It's amazing. I don't know how it did that, because I'm, so terrible at everything that I do. So, but Rat Rod Prepper says, I have a backup generator plus my main generator. I think I have 4. I think I have 4 generators. So I get you. I understand. I have one generator that's up in my Connex that's still in the box, never been even taken out of the box. That's my backup generator. That's my, holy crap, everything else has gone to crap. I got to pull that generator out. So it's there, ready to go whenever the time comes. So, but yeah, I just, so there was another comment that I definitely wanted to address, which I just laughed so hard. And I'm not trying to make fun of the person that made the comment, so please don't take it that way. But I look at things, I guess, differently. So I showed in my earlier video today I went and did another food haul for the group. Okay. And I'm trying to be not getting the same things over and over and over and over again. I'm trying to, now that we got a base of certain things, like I won't be adding any more beans um, onto the group food for probably quite a while because we have probably right around 750 pounds of beans, different kind of beans, lentils, pintos, green peas, black eyed peas, all those type of things. Hey, RC Kev, bro, in 2020, you're the reason I bought a generator. I've used it once, 5-day outage in 2023. Oh, that's cool, man. Well, I'm glad that you had it and you still have it. Like I say, make sure you continue to do those monthly tests on it. Make sure it's running great and ready to go. And I do appreciate the donation and I appreciate the statement as well. And I'm glad because of me that you got it and you were able to have it when you needed to have it. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So anyway, so I did my video today about the food haul. Again, and I'm trying to be diversified in what I'm getting because, you don't want to have the same only 3 or 4 choices to eat when the time comes. So I went out and did a big food shop haul. It was $243 is what I ended up spending. So the comment was, I'm pre-diabetic. How many of the people in your group are diabetic? And then they were breaking down all the different foods that I had gotten and how this was bad because of sugar and this had, high sodium and high salt and blah, 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 right? Okay. But here's my thing, okay? And that's fine. Maybe that person, if they're preparing, they need to prepare differently for themselves, okay? But my thought process is this. SHTF happens, and let's say you show up at my place down the road, and I say, well, listen, I can give you this can of baked beans, and you took the can of baked beans. Now, you haven't eaten in maybe a week, and you're starving. Are you going to tell me, right? Are you going to tell me that you're going to look at the can and go, oh, geez, I'd love to eat this can of beans and I'm really, really hungry, but it has a lot of sugar in here. And I'm really concerned about that with my diet. So I really don't want to eat this. Or I don't want that can of chicken noodle soup because that's going to be high in sodium. So I really am. You're going to eat it and you're going to be happy to eat it. You're going to be happy for anything. That's a kind of mindset that blows me away with people. You're not going to be picky when SHTF happens and there's nothing to eat. If I have something and you have nothing and I offer you some of my food, you are not going to be picky. You're not going to be like, oh, no, I don't eat that. You're going to be like, please, anything that you can give me, I'm going to eat. So, but your diet will be out the window in SHTF. And I guarantee you, if you are pre-diabetic, I guarantee you're going to lose weight after SHTF because there's not going to be any more sitting around doing nothing. You're not going to be able to go out and get your Froca Mocha latte, whatever, right? You're not going to be going to fast food anymore. You're not going to be eating all that garbage that we all eat now. All right. So I'm not like saying you eat it and I don't eat it, Oh, he hates spam. Well, like I said, Jason. Yeah. Well, I'm. Like I said, I always had a standing joke. When I was still in New York and Steve was living down in Maryland, I always made a joke, and I had a can of lima beans, right? And on the can, I put Steve's lima beans, and I always told him, I said, SHTF happens, and you get to me, and you make it to me. The first thing I'm giving you is this can of lima beans. He hates lima beans, so that was like the joke. The joke was, I'm going to give you that can of lima beans and you're not getting anything else until you eat that. But if you're starving, guys, you're not going to care what it is. Like, I don't like beets, okay? Not a big beet person. So, but guess what? If I'm starving to death and there's a can of beets, guess what I'm eating? I'm eating the beets and I'll be grateful to have them. So I think people need to really look at things realistically. And I don't think people look at things realistically from that perspective. Oh, I got a lot of spam. You guys have seen some of the shops that I've done, but it's just, everybody has things that they like, everybody has things that they don't like. I've always encouraged all of you guys, right? All of you guys, I've always said, when you're prepping, prep the stuff that you like to eat. Hey, RC Kev, when COVID hit, I lost 25 pounds just trying to conserve food during the lockdowns. And I'm sure, and that, thank you very much for the statement. And again, thank you for the donation. I do appreciate that. But yeah, and again, because you're not going out, you're not eating like you were, it will change. But I think the biggest thing, yeah, when you're starving, a single saltine cracker will be delicious, even if it's stale, right? JJ, even if it's stale. So, but again, when I prep, when I'm going out and buying stuff, I try to buy stuff that I'm going to like, that I'm going to eat. Okay. If my group has a suggestion and they say, well, we should stock up on X, Y, or Z, then I'm going to go out and get it. Like an example would be Mark. Okay. He goes, listen, he goes, I'm not a big fan of tuna fish. Worst case comes and that's what we have to eat. He goes, I'm going to eat it. He said, but, he said, he said, could you go and get different kinds of meat so we have a variety? That's a very legitimate suggestion. And that's what I ended up doing. We discussed it as a group. We said, what do you guys want to get? And so we got a whole bunch of different options. I mean, we got, beef, we got chicken, we got pork, we got ham in a can. We ended up getting Spam, mackerel, and just a variety of different meats. Salmon in the can, we got that too. So, and then shrimp in the can. So, I mean, we really have got a diverse amount food wise in a can. For when that time comes. Chicken would be another one that we have in a can as well. So the Vienna sausages, right, JJ? There's another one that we got as well. So we are now very diverse as far as meat goes. I mean, back to back months, we focused on meat. So that's why this shop was a different perspective of adding different things to be able to say, okay, we can do this or we can do that now. So it's just, it's always, you can always add on, you can always get more. That's why we're keeping a really detailed inventory of what we're bringing in so that, do research from the Great Depression for food prep. A lot of easy, simple meals. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's information out there if you're willing to look for it, if you're willing to take the time to do it. That information is there for you. Okay, that information is there for you. So, yeah, Keystone. Like I said, we've added a ton of Keystone meats. So that was another. They had turkey, chicken, pork, and beef. So there's 4 different kinds of meat right there, just with the Keystone. But I would give my portion of sardines for the day to another member and skip the meal for the day when it happens. And hey, like I said, again, we all have different taste, and but if you're out there and you're humping and working and doing stuff, when it's time to eat, you're just going to eat because you're hungry. So what do we got? 214 in the chat, guys. We got 73 thumbs up so far. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, which more than half of you have not, I would ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. I do thank you ahead of time. It really does make a huge difference with the algorithms. So thank you very much for that reason. And also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And I thank you ahead of time. All right, I got the girl is right here. Oh, and there's the other comment I had to address, and I laughed. This one I absolutely laughed at. So apparently the person was watching the live stream when Hella was getting up in my face like she does, and she's like right here right now, so she's not in my face yet, but I'm sure she will be. And I was pushing her off and telling her no and stuff like that. And the person got on there, and they were like, you need to give that dog more attention. You're not giving her enough attention and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, So you watch one 1 hour video and you make a judgment call on how much time I spend with my dog. This dog is up my butt 24/7. If I'm outside, she's outside. Here she comes, right? She's got to be with me. Yes, you, ma'am. She's got to be with me all the time. And I don't know what it is. She knows when I'm live streaming, and this is what she does. Okay. She comes up here and she gets in my face and she acts like a pain in the behind. Right? Yes. So that's what she does. But yeah, she's a very spoiled dog, and she gets beyond the normal attention. Okay, now we got to stop. Down, good girl. She gets beyond the normal attention a dog gets. That's like my child. So, along with my other children. So, anyway, I just thought that was funny, and I did address the lady on there. But yeah, she's with me. Watch a few videos. If you watch any of my videos, normally if I'm out doing a video, she's right there. So she's just worried that I'm crazy and talking to myself. Yeah. Yeah. She's a good dog, though. She really is. She's a good pup. I've been very, very fortunate with her. Like I said, best dog I've ever had. Absolutely, hands down, no competition. The best dog that I've ever had. So, all right. Actually, look at us. Here we are, 21 minutes in, and I haven't even opened up my green tea yet. I don't know which carrier group is heading down to South America, but I know that they're sending an aircraft carrier down there. They didn't say, I don't think they said which one yet. They may have, but it is the Ford. Okay. All right. So I wasn't sure which one it was, but that's a acceleration of stuff there with that as well. So, that needs to be concerning, need to give Heather a bet for everyone here tonight. A bet. What do you, I don't know. What you mean a pet? I think you might mean a pet. I don't think you meant a bet, but yeah, it's the Gerald Ford is a huge aircraft carrier, and is it a show of force? Obviously, is it a form of intimidation? Did you see that Trump broke off the trade deal with Canada? Allegedly, Canada used a fake video of Ronald Reagan about tariffs. I did see that, JJ, and from what I heard, they're already taking that down because they do want to have negotiations with the U.S. Canada's been our ally forever. They're like our little brother that we watch out for. Because if it wasn't for us, somebody else would take over Canada. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, Canada's a nice country. I love going to Canada. I've been there many, many times. Partied up there a ton when I was younger. I've been up to Toronto. I've been up several times in Toronto. Been to Montreal. Love Canada. Love the people of Canada. So I got nothing bad to say about Canada. But the reality is this. If we weren't there as a protective arm around our little brother, Canada, somebody else would have taken Canada over by now. They don't have enough people. They don't have a strong enough military. I mean, that's just, that's a fact. So, I mean, to make it like, I understand right now the Liberals have control of Canada and they're ruining Canada up there, with all the nonsense that they're playing up there. And just because they got rid of Trudeau, you bring in a guy that hadn't even lived in Canada in years, and now he's the one. Oh yeah, the baseball game actually just started at 8:00. So, yeah. So, but yeah, I know Steve is like Super Jack. Steve is a huge Dodgers fan, so he's hoping for the first repeat in the World Series since the Yankees did it in the '70s. So. That's what no, not the 70s. Toronto did it 2 years in a row, I think. Didn't they do it in the 90s? I think Toronto won 2 years in a row in the 90s. I think it was 2 in a row. But anyway, I know the Yankees won 2 in a row, 77 and 78, back then. And then, the Yankees then had They won 3 years in a row. Yeah, so so it hasn't been all that long because then the Yankees did it, what, 98, 99, and 2000. So, but anyway, yeah, it's just we'll see what happens. I mean, I have no stake in the game, so I really don't care. Rat Rod was saying born in 1985. Just a baby. You're just a baby. 85. I was already in the military in 1985. How old is Miss Helen now? RC Kev is asking. Oh, I'm trying to think how old she is now. I think she's like 6, if I'm not mistaken. I think she's 6. Are you 6? She's like, I don't know how old I am. Yeah, she had a little drink there. She's either 6 or 7 now. I think she's 6. And no, I have no intention of breeding her again. I'm not breeding her again. That was a one and done. And no, I'm not getting her fixed. You know, I've had her all these years, and I never bred her. Okay, down until I bred her, last year. But yeah, I've had her before I left New York. Yes. Yep. And I've had the property here 4 years now. So had her in New York for 2 years. Yeah. So then she's 6. Then she's 6 years old. Oh, yeah. JJ's asking, what's my take on the NBA gambling scandal with the mafia? So here's my take on that. These guys are making ridiculous amounts of money, okay, in the NBA to play a game, then endorsements on top of it. How much money's enough? Realistically, how much money's enough? Yeah, I think she's 6. She's a 6-year-old. She's a middle-aged woman now. But yeah, hey, if they caught these people cheating, they should be kicking them out, just like they do in baseball, like they did with Pete Rose. Caught him gambling on games, you're out, done, end of story. You don't get a second chance with that. And they should do the same thing with the NBA. If they're throwing games, for gambling and betting, then they should be done. And I don't care who's involved in it; they should all be gone. So, but yeah, it's just, it's just the whole thing. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, you gamble, you take a chance anyway. Gambling is about taking chances, right? So, but if there's a fix-in, that's not fair to people that are, Yeah, prison guard just said, I think it happens in the NFL a lot. Yeah, it seems like that, doesn't it? It seems like that. And he's, like I said, and I mean, you look at the money that, if you go back, even with the Shohei Ohtani thing, if you guys remember that, allegedly, right, his interpreter was the one that was doing all this gambling and stealing money from him. Whatever happened with that, right? Do you hear about that anymore? Here's another one. Okay, I want to talk about this real quick. You're not hearing anything. I'm hearing zero about this in the news. Nothing. You have this munitions plant in Tennessee blow up, right? 19 people were killed in that. They're not going to find them, right? Because they're blown to bits because of these explosions. What have you heard about that? Was it an accident? Was it human error? Was it, was it terrorism? Was it something that was intentionally done? I mean, nothing. You hear nothing. It's like it never happened. You're not hearing anything about that in the news. Nothing. So to me, that's real suspect. When you see stuff like that, that's really suspect. And makes me very curious what's going on, with that. Was it sabotage? Was it an act of terrorism? Not good. Yeah, up 30-0, right? And the other team wins 33-30. Well, you look at the Giants. The Giants had a 19-point lead in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter, and they blew that game. Yeah, how does that happen? How do you play great, for three quarters and you got a big lead, and all you basically got to do is ride out the clock? And so, Shohei Ohtani is the greatest player in Major League Baseball since Babe Ruth. Well, let's put it like this: he's got great numbers so far. He pitches and he hits, and he's a great hitter. But now you got to see the longevity. Let's see what happens over. It's just like Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is on another level when it comes to other baseball players. Like him and Ohtani are on the same level. They're really great players, and everybody else is trying to catch up with them. Okay, but let's see what happens in the next 10 years. Do they keep that going? Do they keep that momentum? Don Mattingly was the greatest player in baseball for a 3-year stretch. I mean, nobody could touch the guy. I mean, he was a god in baseball for 3 years. And then he had back injuries, and he was never the same after that. So, you got to continue that over time. Now, Judge should win his third MVP this year. Better win his third. He deserves it. He put the numbers up, that's for sure. So we'll see what happens. But Derek Jeter, again, longevity. He played baseball for better than 20 years, right? I think he had a 20-year career. And, but the best thing about Derek Jeter, Cal Ripken was another one, same type of thing. You never heard any kind of scandal with those guys. They were class acts. They played, and they gave that game everything that they had. I mean, Derek Jeter never got married till his baseball career was over. Now, he dated some smoke shows during his time in baseball. I mean, he was with what, Mariah Carey. I don't even know the laundry list of women he was with, but he was dated a whole bunch of really top, women in that. But yeah, so that's, that part, but you never heard anything bad, no scandals. Went to work every day, did their job, Kel Reagan, okay, he hit 60 home runs, all right, this year. Switch hitter, catcher, great. He also hit 240, okay. The only thing he led Judge in, all right, Judge hit led the whole league in average. Judge led the whole league in average. Judge still hit 52 home runs, I think, this year. I think it was at least 52 or 53. I don't remember exactly what he hit. But so Reagan had more home runs, more RBIs, and he stole 2 more bases than Judge. And Judge led in every other category: on base percentage, average, walks, everything else, wins above replacement. So, yeah, when you're looking at an MVP, you're looking at the guy that did the most. They were not intentionally walking him like they were intentionally walking Judge. So, I'm pretty sure Hella was born in 2020. I got the same dog 4 weeks after you did, and she just turned 5. Am I tripping? I think I had Hella for 2 years up in New York. Before I moved down here, and I've been here 4 years now. So I honestly think that Hella is 6. I'm pretty sure she's 6. Well, I know that Caesar and Pandora in New York are 2 years older, and I think they just turned 8. So they're 2 years older than Hella. So that's I'm pretty sure that was the case with that. But I don't like the new pitch count timer in baseball. Yeah, you know what? I like it. It speeds the game up. Whoever remembers, if you follow baseball, you probably would remember. Nomar Garciaparra. Man, nobody had longer at bats than that guy, because he would go out of the box every time, readjust his gloves, take forever. I think there needs to be, you need to throw that ball within a certain time frame. There were certain pitchers that would take forever between pitches as well. So a pitch clock in that aspect, I think, is good. I actually like that. I do like that. Back in the day, John Mayberry for the Kansas City Royals had a great stretch. Yep. Now, I'm telling my age. I was 16 years old. I sold programs the year the books for them. Oh, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, they had to speed the game up. It was taking way too long. So, that's why they ended up doing a pitch clock. That's why the hitter has to be in the box within a certain time to hit and be ready to hit. And I think that is better for the game because some of those guys would take so freaking long. Like I said, Nomar Garcia Parra is the one guy that comes to mind. He would take forever. When he was in an at bat, it was like I'd be watching like, come on, let's go. You don't have to adjust your gloves every freaking time, every pitch. So it was just, I mean, that was what he did. But so you stop a lot of that nonsense by restricting all that. So that's just my take on that one. But it's better being faster. So that again, I like it. I like the pitch clock, and I hope that they start doing something with some of these umpires because some of these umpires flat out suck. They're missing so many, especially to a player like Aaron Judge. You know how many balls they called strikes on him that were not even no. There was an at bat where he struck out. They threw 4 pitches in the at bat. Okay, not one of them was a strike. Not one, and they were all the 3. They struck him out. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, these are the guys supposed to be the most professional, the best umpires that are there, and you got guys that just flat out suck. So that's part of it too for me. But I love the game, love baseball. Baseball's my favorite, always has been. So anyway, but yeah, now again, obviously we are steamrolling towards the 1st of November, and now you're hearing all the clamoring. They were talking about taking funds that like FEMA has for disasters, like $5 billion. They were talking about and using that to pay SNAP benefits. Oh, and I looked it up, and it's 41 million people. 41 million people are relying on SNAP, or which is food stamps. So 41 million people. Okay, that's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. So it could get, like I said again, it could get real, real ugly, real, real fast. I mean, if you guys, and I know we talked about this one before, but there was problems in California the one year, and I can't remember what year it was, but they had a lady that was on food stamps that went to pay at a convenience store for stuff that she had bought there, and the EBT was down. It was down. She flipped a lid, like destroyed the store, throwing things and knocking things over because she couldn't get the food she wanted right then and there. Okay. So think about that. 41 million households on SNAP. How many people is that? That's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of people. So, but they say it is us taxpayers that are required to pay for their food and kids. Well, I kind of have an issue with some of that. Again, I've talked about that a million times. A hand up, yes, a hand out, no. Just because you don't want to do anything. Yeah, and how many of those are illegals? There's another question, Delbert. They keep saying that it's just like the mantra of the Democrats when they're going on about, oh, we're not giving illegals free health care, and then it's proven that they were. How are these illegals getting licenses to get out there and drive tractor trailer trucks when they can't even speak English, can't read English? Okay, so how's that happening? So somebody is doing something to make sure these people are getting out there and doing, working and stuff like that. So it's like 1/3 of the population on SNAP. It's crazy. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. But But again, if they can't come together come November 1st, it's going to get wild. And I honestly believe, um, I think that's what they want. They want that to happen. They want people to go absolutely bananas. Who wins then? Realistically, who wins? Do the Republicans win because of that, or do the Democrats win? You know. Oh, so the East Wing of the White House was torn down because they're going to be putting in this ballroom, right? And the Democrats are going nuts about that. And I find that they're talking about the nostalgia. Oh my God, this is a treasure of the White House. I can't believe they're destroying that. Is this not the same party, right? Is this not the same party that like canceled Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and wanted all those monuments taken down? You had to change military bases names because because of the Confederacy and all of that. That's the same party, right? Now they're pissed off that he's tearing that down, and they're making a $300 million ballroom that will not be paid for by the taxpayers, by the way. Private donations, and also being paid for by Trump himself. So it ain't costing us nothing. And my thing is, do I give a crap if there's a ballroom or there's not a ballroom? I do not. It affects me not at all. Will I ever be in the ballroom in the White House once they get it done? The answer is no. So I don't care. Okay. But, again, let's stop being hypocrites. Oh, I wanted you to see, I was going to mention this too. There was a private donation. I want you to hear this. And it didn't say who did it. It was an anonymous donation. $130 million was donated to make sure the troops got paid. So somebody out there, obviously, most likely a billionaire, and I almost could guarantee you it was not a left-leaning billionaire, okay? $130 million donation to make sure that the troops got paid. Whoever it is that did that, my hat's off to them because that is amazing. That is amazing. So, yeah, I just that's pretty wild to me. So we got 224 in the chat, guys. We got 100 and could be, I don't know, maybe. We got 122 thumbs up. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. I do appreciate that ahead of time. It really does make a huge, huge difference with the algorithms. So thank you very much ahead of time for that. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And I thank you for that reason as well. Yeah, it could have been Musk. I mean, but they're saying an anonymous. So would it shock me if it was Elon Musk? No, that wouldn't shock me. So, Ed, they say that donation will still have to go through Congress. Is that what there's? I hadn't heard that. I had not heard that. Well, I know that there was a bipartisan bill that was put up to make sure that the military got paid, and the Democrats shot that down. So who are we blaming, right? Who are we blaming? Do you think President Trump should take control of the airlines, air traffic control? No, I don't think so, Alex. I don't think so. They should leave that private. They should leave that private. So, again, it's there's a lot of craziness out there. There's a lot of opinions, of course. So it's everybody's going to have their opinion, but it amazes me, right? And I've talked about this before, guys. If Trump says the sky is blue, there's going to be people on the left that go, no, it's not. It's whatever. They're never going to agree with him. They're never going to give credit where credit's due, ever. And they're just, he's bad, he's this, he's the orange man, whatever. Who cares? I just, do your job. If he's doing his job and he's getting America squared away, which he is, they hate that too. They can't stand that either. But I don't care about TSA, Kathleen, to be honest with you. We didn't need TSA agents, before 9/11. I don't think we need TSA agents now. That's just an extra layer of BS. So, all right, and again, that's my opinion. So, not a big fan of TSA. No. So, got to go through jumping through hoops to fly someplace, in this country. Let's target the people that need to be targeted. I mean, ooh, that's profiling. Yeah, so what? Last time I didn't see a bunch of white people going up there and a bunch of black people that were Americans going up there, a bunch of Hispanic people that were Americans going up and blowing up planes. Didn't see that. Haven't seen that, right? So, I mean, who's doing it? They could be from Middle Eastern countries, maybe. I don't know. Just speculating. Tell me. Explain it to me. So, who should we be watching for? I don't. That's just my take. Anyway, let's do egg count. All right, let's do egg count. So, how many eggs today? Yes or no for Miss Betty White? And how many Easter eggers did we get? How many laid today? So we have 3 Easter eggers that lay. So just give you that. 1 Betty White, obviously. And we will go from there. So give you guys a few moments to get your guesses in. Here's the best part, guys, okay? I'm giving you my opinions on certain things. You could have a different opinion. And guess what? That's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. We can agree to disagree. See, that's what adults do. Adults agree to disagree. Children have a temper tantrum when they don't get their own way. That's what children do. So, if the truck drivers should have to speak fluent English, then the pilots should be required to do the same, just my opinion. Well, they should. Yeah, they should. So, all right, guys. Today, we had a first. An absolute first. Hasn't happened in egg count history. All right. I was absolutely shocked. I was like, no freaking way. And I'll explain in a minute. So nobody got the guess right today. And I knew nobody would. Okay. We ended up having 10 eggs today. No, Miss Betty White did not lay today. So that was 10. No. And here's what has never happened before. 4 Easter eggs today. I have 3 hens. I have 3 Easter egger hens. Ended up getting 4 Easter eggs today. Haven't had that happen. Has not happened yet. So until today. So I was like, oh no crap. I said nobody's gonna guess that. So yeah, 4 eggs out of 3 Easter eggers. So one of them must have laid real early, and then she laid again later in the day. So that was all right. That was pretty cool. Will you stop? People are gonna think I'm abusing you. You're a victim. Are you a victim? Huh? Poor thing. Oh, terrible. Terrible, terrible. So, but yeah, I was shocked today when that whole thing happened. Totally shocked. So, but, oh, the new run. Yeah, the new run looks good. They got a lot more room. They seem a lot more happier. I mean, the last 4 days I've had like 10, 9 again, and then 10 eggs today. So, I mean, they've been laying. But pilots are required to speak English. It's an international requirement. Okay, well, I had no idea. I don't know what the rules are. I did not know what the rules are. But, yeah, that's not my forte. Yeah, also haven't heard anything else about the fireworks plant that got leveled in Texas. Yeah, it's amazing how certain things will happen and then they just don't talk about it again. They just don't talk about it. So I'm just like, that is bizarre to me. Especially, like I said, you're talking about a munitions plant where they're making ammo. And don't get me wrong, could it have been absolutely an accident? It could have been. It could have been. So it just when am I building the doghouse? That's going to be soon. That's going to be soon, Cassandra. My next thing is I got to get the. I might wait until I can't really have a hand though when I do that because I got one bee suit. Um, but I got to get all four sides on the beehives and then tie it. So I kind of need another hand so I can cut them and get them all ready. But I'm gonna need somebody to come down there but like being colder, they're staying inside more. So I might wait to do that. I can cut out the things ahead of time and then put them on when we have a group get together, and I can have Mark and Rob help me hold them on. And the reason I'm laughing, both Mark and Rob are allergic to bees. So Rob is worse. Rob will go into anaphylactic shock if he gets stung by a bee. So that's a joke. Um, but I'll have to have somebody go down there with me and just hold it while we tie it. But if it's colder out, they're going to be all inside and they're not going to be coming out anyway. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to. Talking about the truck driver. Well, how are they passing anything if they can't read English? So, there's a lot of people are going to be going without food if they don't figure the shutdown out. You're right. And that is a terrible situation, a really terrible situation and a tragedy. When you have right now in this country so many people not only relying on food stamps, but they're relying on food pantries, and the demand on the food pantries has just blown up. It's huge, and there's a lot of people that need help. I mean, there just really is, and you know, it's an unfortunate situation. It's not a good situation at all, folks. It's not a good situation at all. So some of the videos I watched, they need to go without food at least a few days. Who said that? Like I said, if they can't go, you will see riots. I'm telling you right now, you will see riots if people are not able to get their food stamps. So I know of a truck driving school that if you had enough dollars to get your CDL, that school got shut down. Oh, wow. Okay. If you had enough money, they got it. Okay. Well, they got the test in Spanish. Okay. Hey, the Garden Life. I can't wait to see your property with snow. I can. Thank you very much for the statement, and thank you very much for the donation, the Garden Life. Yeah, I can wait. I can wait. I don't need to see the snow. It'll be here soon enough. It'll be here soon enough. But local news in Tennessee tonight said 14 people identified with rapid DNA. Preliminary search showed explosion on the first floor of one of the buildings. Remaining studies to determine more. Oh, okay. Yeah, because like I said, you're not hearing anything on the world news stage, the countrywide news. And you would think that would be something that they really want to know what the answer was. So if there was an explosion on the first floor, well, from what? And they have those guys that can look at those things and know if it was done on purpose, if it was an accident, those type of things. Because if it was an accident, you want to know what it was, what caused it, so it doesn't happen again. So as a diesel mechanic, I see a lot of foreign CDL drivers that should not be driving. Some can't even back up. I've heard that too. Yes, I've heard that too. Yeah, it's not good. That is not good at all. Like I said, Interesting times. We got a week. We got a week. And so next Friday when we're doing this, if these idiots haven't figured it out in Washington, and I blame both sides, guys. It's not just the left and it's not just the right. You know, their job is to yeah, I'm going to use bungee cord. Yeah, I'm going to use that, but I got to have somebody hold them while I'm putting the bungee cords on there, Judy. So somebody's got to hold it ahead of time. It's already getting cold in Minnesota. We've had some chilly nights already. Yeah, we've had some chilly nights. Yeah, they're getting colder. That's for sure. So yeah, house that is divided is not a house. Well, like I said, the division has gotten to be so bad between both sides that nobody wants to compromise, and you can't keep things going unless you compromise. You have to compromise. The Republicans will use the nuclear option to get the government back open. I don't know what you mean by that. I have no idea what you mean by that. Like I said, it's almost, and again, I'm not sure, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's almost like they want it to happen. They want it to happen. They want to have people go bananas, you know. And like I said, they're going to go bananas. So, won't be fun. Won't be fun. Yeah, at night I've had my heat's been kicking on probably the last 4 nights. So, yeah, maybe a test. You don't know, but there's a lot of people that are dependent on that. And like I said, when you have 41 million households are receiving some form of benefits, it could, like I said, it could turn ugly really, really quick. I was told today that Social Security will be affected as well. I don't think so, Tony. I've heard nothing that Social Security would be affected. That has nothing to do. That's something that's already there. They can't say that it's not funded. So I don't think I don't think that that's correct. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am in that one because they have heard nothing about Social Security being affected. So, but you got a bunch of overpaid people that have been in Washington for decades. I mean, what Schumer's got 44 years in. Mitch McConnell's been there, 30 something. I mean, these guys have been there forever, forever. And that's not what it was meant to be. It was not meant to be a lifelong thing. Pelosi, how long she been there? She's been there forever too. I always go back to Louise Slaughter. She got reelected at like 81 or 82, and then she ended up dying at like 83 in office. So, I mean, I was just like, but if they're there, who was it? God, who was the senator? The guy was like 99 or 100 years old, and they would wheel him in the wheelchair to vote. He was from like North or South Carolina, something like that. I can't remember what his name was. He was there forever. I mean, ever, you know. But yeah, they just, he kept getting reelected because that, he was their guy, you know. And that happens a lot. That happens a lot. So, but Thurmond, yeah. Storm Thurmond. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the guy was like 90 something years old, and they would have to wheel him in a wheelchair so he could vote. So, craziness. So, yeah, Jesse's saying that that's a big part of the problem. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. So, it's just part of the game that we got to deal with, and it's not it's almost like I said again, I'm not saying that it should happen like this, but it's almost like the whole thing's got to come down and restart it all over again because it's a mess. It is an absolute mess. And I don't ever see anything changing in our lifetimes unless, like I said, unless the whole rotten structure gets kicked in. So anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with this, my favorite saying: STD, step, thing, and day. whatever you're trying to do in life, whatever you're trying to accomplish, if you work methodically and set realistic goals, okay, you can accomplish anything that you want to. It's one step at a time, it's one thing at a time, and it's one day at a time. So there's your STD: step, thing, and day. If you work at it methodically, it will get done, and then you can move on to the next thing. That's the important part of that, okay? Just keep prepping, keep getting ready. Again, whatever they're going to do, whatever they're going to pull, guys, there's not anything we're going to be able to do about it anyway. All we can control is what we can control for our own households and our own families and our friends and groups. And that's it. So just keep doing what you can do. All right. I will talk to you all later. Have a great night. Prepper Nurse One out for now. I'll see you all on Sunday. All right. I'll see you Sunday, 8 o'clock.